We got Daron Cruickshank back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Diego Brandao at RIZIN 13 on September 30th. Daron, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too much, just getting ready for a fight.
Absolutely, man. And it's been a while since you and I last talked. Of course, I know since then you've gotten married. How's married life? It must feel pretty good not to have to talk about the wedding anymore.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's really changed much. Me and Malky have been together for like 5 or 6 years. Uh, it's been a trip, and it's about time to get married, I guess.
Yeah, I know we're all getting older, huh? It's just one of those things. You got to kind of be an adult every
Gray,
once in a while, right?
yeah, a bunch of gray in here.
Yeah,
Maybe it's time for me to like mature.
yeah, yeah. No, I hear you on that. Let's talk about one quick thing before this fight. Obviously, great matchup, but I know you recently linked up with Terphouse. How did this all come together with you hooking up with one of the best CBD oil companies in the country?
Well, actually, my manager ended up hooking it up, and but the cool thing is years ago. So the guy that owns Turf House is a huge MMA fan, and years ago, I was like walking out of the UFC cage. I just won a fight. I'm not sure who it was against, but like I took a picture with a fan and I gave him my hat. And crazy thing is, it's the owner of Turf House. So
Okay.
like small worlds. I guess he's always been a big fan of mine and stuff like that. So the coolest thing was that we got hooked up and now I basically like take a shot of that stuff um, right before I go to bed. It puts me right to sleep and I'm good to go.
Yeah, what does your recovery look like, especially during training camp?
Uh, I mean, I try to do 2 a days, and I get sore and but when I wake up in the morning, nice fresh sleep, I feel great.
That's good. Okay, because I know recovery is obviously a big part of camp, and also after fights and things like that. Especially a guy like you who's always doing the stand up fights and everything. We saw you get back in the win column again. You've won three straight now. You get that win over Tom Santos. What's been the difference these last couple of fights that have really sort of creating this momentum that you have the three wins in a row?
Really, I feel like I'm just kind of like becoming my own, like as far as I'm matured now, like I got these gray hairs. I'm not the young bull in the cage freaking out mentally. I think that's the biggest thing. As far as training and stuff like that, it's all the same. But I would say my weight cut is better, and actually my last weight cut has been the best weight cut I've ever had. Yeah, it's still hard, and there's a I still got to cut the same amount of weight, but I didn't cramp up one time. I didn't cramp up putting the water back on. I really it really felt great.
That's good to hear. That's awesome. And now you find out you're fighting Diego Brandao. When did you find out about this fight? Because this kind of came out of the blue, and you're fighting, a guy who's pretty well known, who's fought Conor McGregor.
I actually had a real feeling that night that's probably going to be my last opponent because he fought on the same card. And Cody, we were like riding on the bus back to the hotel, and he literally like looked at me and was like, "Hey, that guy's going to be your next opponent."
Okay.
So, I mean, Ryzen only has so many fighters right now, because they're still upcoming company, but they are putting together a lot of international fights now instead of just the Japanese. So it's nice to be able to fight people from other countries, not going to Japan and fighting only Japanese guys where everybody wants to see me lose. So
Right.
and this is a big tough fight for me. He's well known. He's fought at the same level as I have. So this is going to be like a staple in my career. This will be 4 wins in a row, and I'll be able to either renegotiate with Ryzen for much more money, or see what's on the playing field for anywhere else. For me, I just I want to fight where I make the most money. That's all I'm about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So just to clarify, you will be a free agent after this fight.
After December, so I
Oh,
have
after December. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, after December I'll be a free agent. I have a ton of fights left on the contract with Ryzen, but we've kind of talked because they can't fulfill so many because they only have so many shows. And we've come to like a mutual agreement, like it is what it is. Because I had a year basically off with Ryzen because I lost a couple of fights in a row, and they just couldn't put me on shows. It just wasn't right. They had so many other people and they only have so many shows. So I think maybe we messed up a little bit when we were negotiating the first contract. because, they wanted so many fights, but they didn't have enough shows kind of deal. So it'll work out.
Let's talk about the matchup, though. Brandao, obviously a guy who likes his knockouts just like you do. Is that how you see this fight, sort of unfolding? Is you guys both just standing and trading?
I mean, I try not to trade with anybody. I try to get out, do my thing. I'm not one of the guys that is going to take a punch to give a punch kind of deal. But I won't stop in the middle of my attack if you touch me, right? I think I'm 100%. I'm the better striker in this game. I've proved that. I've knocked a lot of people out. But I think, he is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he might say he's going to stand and bang with me or whatever he says. But once I start tagging him and he has no answer back, he'll turn into a grappler, and I'll be fighting off submissions and shit like that.
Are you prepared for the stare down in this? Because I know Brandao can get a little crazy sometimes at the weigh-ins or at the press conferences. Is that something you're anticipating?
You know what? I see this stuff a lot, like this fake drama. Like this isn't a street fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't a street fight. I feel like there should be respect between fighters. Because we're doing it for money. It's not like you talk shit about my mom or some bullshit like that. But I will say, if you touch me, I'll touch you back. And that's how it is on the street. And if you the fight hasn't started yet, we get paid to fight each other. We don't get paid to fight each other at the weigh-ins or stare downs or anything like that. So I'm a real dude, and if you touch me, I'll fuck you up wherever you're at.
Right. You got to kind of keep your guard up with a guy like that. Now, as far as training camp, is it just business as usual, training with the same guys over there? Cody Stamen, all the great guys over at Michigan Top Team.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we're blowing up as a gym. We're looking for bigger space right now. A lot of big things are coming in the future for Michigan Top Team. So we got a lot of up and coming guys. We just got a few guys that were in the UFC.
Yeah.
Bobby Nash just transferred to us. He's always been a Michigan guy, but he's kind of been at a couple different local gyms. And I actually see him, getting better with us and possibly making a comeback. So we'll see about that.
That's great. Anyone else you can mention that's joined the gym?
I mean, we have a ton of guys that are up and coming. Jared Brooks is in and out all the time.
I saw that. Yeah.
He goes to a bunch of different gyms in Michigan, but he makes his way over for the real good training.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And then you got to go to Cody's fight and corner him, right, on September 8th for that UFC 228 card?
Well, I leave not next week, but the week after. We go. Okay. He beats somebody up, and I come back, and I have like 2 weeks or something to get ready to finish my camp to go to Japan.
Yeah, and then he'll return the favor, right, and corner you in Japan?
Oh, yeah. Yep. We traveled with each other for I think I started training with him. I was like 3 or 4-0 as a pro, and he was just a baby. He had like 15 amateur fights still, and I've been at every single fight since then.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. How do you see this fight playing out on September 30th?
Well, so it's not the regular RIZIN rules. So we have elbows, and instead of the 10 5-minute round, we have 3 5s. So we have elbows, stomps, everything. And I feel like I'll be able to once I start picking them apart and staying at my range, he won't be able to break that distance. And every time he does, I'll pop him and frustrate him, and then I'll get out. So I feel like he's going to try to take me down, and I'm going to smoke him with a knee as he tries to take me down. So we'll see.
Where do you feel like a win over Brandao puts you sort of, in the grand scheme of things? You mentioned, December is kind of the cutoff for free agency and all that, or you becoming a free agent. What are you looking at after this? Because this would situate you nicely, especially beating a fellow UFC veteran.
Yeah, no, this is a huge fight for me. It's, this could make me or break me, So I get this win, I'm going to be probably making double what I'm making now, especially if I knock him out with one of those head kicks, one of those sweet-ass head kicks, So where does it put me? It puts me right where I want to be. He's a name. He's fought everywhere. He's on The Ultimate Fighter. He won The Ultimate Fighter. I think it's a great fight for me because he was a 45er. and he's moved up since. And for this fight, I'm not the shorter guy. I've stood next to him. He's slightly shorter than me. Now I'm used to fighting guys so long, like so long. And it's a job of mine to get in and try to hit and then get out and stay at range and stuff like that. So I think I definitely, I'm going to own him on our feet.
Before I let you go, got any hunting trips planned? I know that the season's sort of kicking back up again. I know that's something you and Cody like doing, especially. Is there anything on the horizon or any gun stuff you got going on? Any
Yeah,
competitions?
so you could basically say that I'm a two-sport pro athlete.
Yeah, it's true.
I just did my first national three-gun match last weekend or last week. It was like 3 days of shooting. That was in Kentucky at the Rock Castle Shooting Center. I did the Rock Castle Pro-Am. I did the pro side. I mean, with the pros and the amateurs, there were over 500 shooters there. In my class, I shoot open. So there was like I think 48 guys in my class from all around the country. The guys that basically get paid to do three gun. And I ended up taking ninth at my first national match, which is huge. So I took ninth in open, and I took 32nd overall. So basically 32nd out of 500, which isn't
Very
bad.
cool. I
Yeah,
would say so, yeah. Especially when you got all this other stuff going on, running a gym and training for a fight and everything like that. So
yeah.
that's awesome.
Dude, summer has been crazy. I got married. I've had a couple fights. Like traveling. I went on a cruise after the last fight. I went all over Europe, and I will say, fuck the French because they're fucking. And if it wasn't for us, the United States, they would be German. So
Okay.
they need to treat us a little better, even though we're dropping money in their shops and stuff like that. They're fucking jerks.
All right, fair enough. Well, this is going to be a great fight coming up here, September 30th. It's RIZIN 13. Darren, it's always good talking to you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
I appreciate you having me on the show almost like every fight. My sponsors, they're all basically gun companies. So Victos brand, they're a clothing company. BG Defense, Half Cock Targets, Oakland Tactical, ATI Guns, Detroit Grooming Company. I just have a ton, and they're all really good to me. Detroit Superstar, what is it? Cruickshank 155 on Instagram, Daron Cruickshank on Facebook and Twitter. So thanks.